Yeah. This is Charlotte.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good to hang out, CHEE.
Yeah, good man.
Thanks for having me in your studio.
That's alright.
Is that what you call this place? Or?
I don't know. I'll call it the clinic, the studio, the shop. Yeah, whatever sort of calls us the time at the time.
And tell everyone where we are.
So we're at Good Vibes Physio. So in Cologne on the Sunshine Coast. I was talking to them. I don't even know.
Yeah, we're talking to everyone.
Yeah,
it's good. It's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, cheers.
You picked a great spot, you know.
Yeah, so lots of light. Wanted to create a space that was like not super clinical. I think just open lights, have some gym equipment.
Yeah.
Trying to promote movement.
So nice to have all this view of the great outdoors, and
yeah. No, very fortunate to have gotten this spot here.
9 times out of 10, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, that's the way. Alright,
So we're going to do a bit of training together.
Sure. You lead.
Yeah, I'll lead the way.
Yeah.
I'll probably just warm things up a little bit. Maybe have a little squat.
Sure. Happy to.
But I wanted to just pick your brain, and for everyone that's here today.
Yeah.
Like when someone comes into your studio or your clinic or your shop.
Yeah.
And they're presenting with pain.
Yeah.
Do you let them know what pain is? Like, do you try to put some language around it, or what is the first thing that you're going to do when you see someone present?
I think it really depends on where they're at with their, I guess we could almost say, pain journey. Like if they've experienced pain for a long time and they've got some pretty strong beliefs on pain, like it's probably not the right time to go in and start like tearing those beliefs down in that first session.
Yeah.
You really
so that sounds like something that maybe you would do for some people.
Sometimes,
yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. Like I think, on the flip, if someone was like super worried about like their knee pain and they've got all these, they're kind of asking these like questions, like I don't know what's going on. Can you help me? No one's been able to help me. Like I can't explain what's going on.
Yeah.
Then just to kind of reassure them, like I would say something like, let me think, look, I can understand that you're in lots of pain. It's very severe. I can see that from how you're presenting today. But let me just reassure you that high levels of pain doesn't mean high levels of harm. Pain is a very real experience, but it's not damage. And so with the right support and exercises and movement, we can help you to reduce that pain and get you moving better. Something like that.
Because it's really interesting, even with the training that I do, is you have people that come in and they might have significant pain or fear around their shoulder, something that's hung around for a long time. I guess you'd call it chronic. It's 2-3 years.
Oh, yeah, easily, yeah.
And they're the fact that they have extreme pain doesn't mean that it's also going to take an extreme amount of time to get them out of pain, which I always found interesting.
I guess there's a lot of trust involved, because say if they were in extreme, like the shoulder example, like if they were in extreme amounts of pain, if you train them for the first time and you flare up that pain, if they don't trust you and they don't trust that process, like they might think that you've caused them more damage.
That's right, yeah.
So I think just sort of, judging, making a bit of an assessment internally as to where you feel like they're at, and whether it's at least from my experience, whether it's the right time to interfere with that, or to be more of a support and be like, I understand what's going on, let's get you through this. And then after a couple of sessions, you're kind of easing into that, and then you might say, hey, actually, let's talk about pain in a bit more detail.
Yeah, nice. So there's a real mindset piece to pain that you bring together in your practice.
Oh yeah, big time. I don't think there's ever a time, maybe like 10%, but there's always, I guess when people come to physio because they're in pain typically, whether it's from an injury or they're lacking in performance, some they're wanting to run faster but they've got this knee pain and it's stopping them.
Yeah.
So most often people will come in, with some sort of pain, I'd say. Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Cool.
Did you want to jump on the bar and do some prep?
Yeah, sure. I'm actually finding it quite hard to train and talk pain. But I'll try.
We're gonna have to block it out. We have to lean into trust.
Yeah.
And talk about pain as if it's somewhere else in the world.
I actually did front squats today at the hub.
Oh, did
This
you?
morning, yeah.
So I work out of Cool and Fitness, and the hub is one of the, I guess, the legs of Cool and Fitness. And you didn't bother coming past to say g'day.
Oh, it was super early. It was like a 5:30 class.
Nice,
So
man.
I was in and out.
Yeah. Once of me is enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been a bit, to be honest, slack with the strength training. Just with
It's something that you like to stay consistent with?
Yeah. Well, I've got the Sunny Coast Half Marathon,
Oh, yes.
and so trying to like I could be better, but like trying to fit that in, the runs in, the training. Yeah, it's always you could always be better.
It's always a lot to manage.
Yeah.
She and I only just met, how long ago? A couple of weeks ago?
Couple of weeks ago. I
Couple of
think.
weeks ago?
Yeah. What are you doing there?
What am I doing here? I'm just massaging out my traps and my rhomboids.
Ah.
Just using this barbell, feels really nice.
Yeah, right.
And
I've not seen that
that's
before.
just a nice way to loosen them up.
Yeah, fair.
And it's not the first thing I'm ever going to do with someone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had a lot of massages before. And I've done a lot of release work for my own body, so it just feels really nice.
Cool. Maybe I'll give that a go.
Yeah, give it a whirl. There you go, mate. Let's see what you can do. It's probably a good idea to use two hands at once, just while you're getting going. And then you can feel that the pressure is just coming straight down through the line of gravity. So then if you want to direct it more to your rhomboids, you just need to lean over a little bit more.
Well, I'm gonna tip this over.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah.
But I know how strong you are.
Uh-huh.
It's not going to be a
That's
problem.
good, eh? Yeah, like right in the trap.
It's really nice.
Oh, yeah.
And then you just want to be able to like release, either completely have your right arm off the bar, or just have it touching the bar for balance,
Yeah.
and have it released.
Yeah, gotcha. That's sick.
Yeah, I just find that like the stronger I get, the more I need something heavy or something hard just to really get in and make a difference.
Yep, I agree.
And yeah, it's beautiful just to
Give me a racket.
move the head around and
Is it on?
yeah, it's on. Yeah, give it a nice,
That's cool.
give it a nice whirl, and then it's always really nice just to like floss things out, move into a bit of internal external rotation, release some of the tissues in different angles.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow. That's cool.
Nice.
I might pinch this one.
Man, you gotta pinch it.
Yeah.
We're all sharing it around anyway.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I learnt this from someone. I think I did actually. I think we had a coach come down from Sydney and he taught me the trap release with the barbell.
No way.
And we did it with the bar in the rack and 20 kilos on the front,
Yeah.
which was pretty hectic. And then I just started walking it out of the rack.
That's awesome.
So what was the front squats this morning?
What did I do? So it was like a strength piece. It was like front squats, followed by, so every 2 minutes on the minute. So you
Yep.
did like 8 front squats with like a 2 second lower, 2 second pause, and then a drive up. And then
Yeah,
that was
nice.
paired with push press, another push press, and thrusters. I think 6 push presses and then 8 thrusters.
Oh, so you've done a bit of work already.
Oh yeah. Well, I went pretty light. Like I was pretty gassed by the end of it, just because I haven't really done that for a couple of weeks. It was good.
Oh, it's nice to move.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Where are your plates. You got them all hooked up on this is a neat little rack.
On the side here. They're a bit slippery, so we'll put clips on.
Put the clips on.
Yeah.
No worries. What do you want to start with?
I don't mind. I'm happy to try some interesting squats. I've seen some videos of you doing some cool looking mobility type stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm keen to try some of that.
Cool. Well, have you done a Zerpa squat before? With barbells in the elbows?
I've tried it, but my arms are sore. But I've got a foam pad.
You can't use the foam pad.
No? Alright.
I mean, we're in your place, but we can't use
No,
the foam
I'll
pad.
go without it. Yeah.
Cool. Alright, let's bring this down.
Sure.
And we'll make it a nice comfy height to get it out of the rack. How's 13?
Sure.
And then I always like to just get the flat of my forearm right against the bar.
Right.
Keep it as open as I can before I pinch it in.
Right. Okay.
Make sure you get it nice and level. Been a long time since I've done one of these. Open up the chest, fill up the belly, and then we just lever the bar to help us become more upright. Okay? So obviously you don't want to collapse and just let everything go.
Yeah.
Keep the chest up.
Yep.
And if you're struggling with the posture at all, you just bring the elbows forward a little bit more.
Elbows forward,
Just set
lifts
you
the
off.
chest up.
Yeah.
That's a good cue.
Lifts the chest up, gets the middle back a little bit more active. But also, I do spend a little bit of time just trying to stretch out the whole chain down here. I find this is just a great way to just get things going, and I wasn't always able to do this. Anytime I used to round my back,
Yeah.
I used to get a flare up
Mm.
and have time off, but I
Yeah.
did some great work with my coach, Jules Bergmaster, and
Yeah.
built a whole new level of trust and a whole new toolkit of options. So you made that
Does
possible.
your back give you any grief at all?
Occasionally I do get some grief, but now I just don't have anywhere near the fear around it at all. But also I just have a lot of tools to know exactly where it's at. Yeah, that's the way. And then if we want to like stay a little bit more connected through the whole spine, then you would lift your torso up, your chest up a little bit more. Feel that?
Oh,
Yeah, whereas that was just lacking before. So if you just stop halfway, you can feel how connected you are through the whole spine.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and all the muscles supporting that.
Yeah.
And then if you slowly go down and maintain that connection, and maintain and don't get soft or sloppy, and come back up. That's the level of tension that you need for, let's say, the heaviest weight possible.
That's awesome.
I think it's just good foundational stuff.
Wouldn't you? Yeah.
Quite nice. Yeah, it's quite nice. And just allow the chin to go down as well. And have a little stretch up through the ankles. You can tip into the feet a little bit more, knees forward, yeah. Wriggle around, loosen up the hips.
Cool. I'll crank the AC on actually.
We're warming up in here. Yeah, I just got to a place where I was just so stiff that anything I did would stir it up. Anything I did that was dynamic or that was a little bit out of stiff back, I just think that there was no space in there.
Do you find you were kind of holding yourself quite rigid?
There was so many things. I mean, I was in a rush to eat all the time. I was drinking heaps of coffee. I was anxious without like ever admitting to myself that I was anxious, because I was never like, I was never like out of breath or struggling to breathe or hyperventilate, but I was very much, my mind was racing. I was worried about our finances. I wanted to make sure that everything was perfect. I was trying to control everything in my life. yeah, every minute of the day was accounted for.
Yeah.
For mental chatter, and there was just no rest or relief.
Yeah.
So yeah, food was fast, everything was fast, coffee was fast,
Yeah.
training was fast, coaching was loud and fast.
Yeah. I see.
And I think I just became a stiff product of that.
Yeah. And that's super super common with a lot of these like say chronic pain. I'd say
Is it? It's either one or the other, where they're either like super go-getters and they're doing too much,
Yeah.
and what they're trying to do the right thing, they're doing all the exercises, they're tracking everything,
Yeah.
but it's just too much. Like their cup's too full.
Yes.
It's overflowing, you know.
Yeah.
And then you got the other end of the spectrum where they're not doing enough. Everything's too sore, and so their capacity is so low that if they try and do something that's like that little bit extra than what they're used to, then that flares it up, and then that reinforces that, oh, they should be doing less.
Yes.
And so it's this constant like cycle of, over a period of time, their function is even lower.
Yeah. Yeah, the two ends of the spectrum and the paradox just coming together in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, for someone like yourself, you needed to slow down, find time, find space.
Yeah.
The other person, they needed more guidance around what sort of graded exposure training is the right amount, and education on maybe flare-ups, building strength,
Yeah, I try to bring that into my training practice as well. Like I find that a lot of people are just sitting in these categories, I guess like I was, of stiff, burnt out, maybe strong, and doing everything. And then like you say, you know, the complete opposite of loose, yogi, you know, taking it easy, not doing much, and then wanting to go maybe do something athletic, like have a surf, and just everything falls apart because there's no stability. Yeah. So it's just nice, I guess. I mean, I've got a little baby boy at the moment.
Watch your head. So.
Yeah, you can see that.
You can see that.
A little baby boy at the moment, and it's just cool to see how loose he is, and how supple, and how he's able to just have a fall or bump into something and it not affect him in the slightest. And then, you know, there's obviously grandma and grandpa that are so frail and brittle. And then there's this space in between. And just looking at people and just wondering, you know, are you more on the soft, fluid side, or are you more on the stiff, brittle side? And, you know, how can we bring that together and you know, make this person, I guess, more resilient?
Yeah, that's it. I think at the end of the day, it's resilience. It's not necessarily strength. You know, like strength is important, but it's not the cure. It's not the cure for pain.
No, like to have a strong back squat's cool, but if every time you do it, or if, you know, once a month you're back squatting and
Your back's flared up.
your back's flared up and you can't do anything for 3 days, then what's the point of having strong legs? If, you know, for me, I can't get in and out of the cot, or you know, pick Cotton up when he's not feeling too good.
Yeah, I find too, like, there's a lot of emphasis on like, not, especially with, I guess on the topic of back pain, like, you know, you're not bracing your core enough, or not tensing your glutes enough, you know, like there's, people want that simple, like, oh, I've got back pain because of X.
Yeah.
But as you know from experience, and when it's that more kind of chronic pain, like, all right, that might play a role, it might play a small role, but let's look at the whole picture. You know, your example of the busyness of the mind, right? Like, all right, you've got strong glutes, but if you're still working and you're not sleeping well and you're drinking heaps of coffee, you know, those sorts of things, like
dehydrated, not
exactly.
drinking enough water.
Yeah. If we're not looking a little more holistically, you know, then we're really missing out on those important, I guess those important factors that probably contribute more than, you know, weak legs or not tensing calves or squatting.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you can see there's a lot of people out there that are moving like absolute shit and not getting hurt.
Yeah, exactly right.
And then there's a lot of trainers that are robots and they're broken.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you've seen
And I've been one.
Yeah. Well, you've seen like you know, Usain Bolt. He's got a scoliosis.
Yeah.
He's, you know, fastest man.
Yeah.
And there's that dude, I forgot his name, but he's a deadlifter.
he's got a massive scoliosis.
Yeah.
He lift crazy weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not always about alignment when it comes to the mechanical sort of side of the body.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's interesting to just get people there to have an experience.
Oh, this is heavier. I reckon I'm gonna get bruises in my elbow pits. Ah, feels good though.
Nice.
Cool.
I've got a client that's had a frozen shoulder and couldn't lift his arm basically above here, and it was too hard to reach into the glove box when driving, and couldn't grab the seat belt, and affecting the surfing, paddling, all that sort of thing. And this was one of the ways that we got him squatting.
Yeah, right.
Because we could just bring it straight down here.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's in and nice and compact, and he gets to build his legs while we do some other exercises.
Yeah, for sure. There's always a way, hey, like.
There's always a way around it, but I think also we shouldn't avoid the things. Like the front squat is a task that would be cool, a cool expression of improved mobility for that sort of client. So, but he's cool now. He jumps up on the rings and does German hangs and pull-ups and stuff.
Yeah, right. So your shoulders look good now.
Yeah, like I think it's still sticky, but he's just got way more access.
Yeah,
so his whole freedom in his life is dramatic.
That's it. They say he'd probably be on the 40s, 50s.
Yeah, he's 50 years old.
Yeah.
Most of my clients
that
are
kind of demographic.
40, 50
for
plus.
frozen shoulder. I think they say like the lifeline of the timeline, of a frozen shoulder can last on average like 2 years.
Yep.
Some longer, but like that average.
Where is that data coming from? Do you have any idea? Or
I think just from. I don't know, because when I was in England, I was working in hospitals and stuff. They would have just like researched it, like done like heaps. Because like with frozen shoulder, it's interesting because like no one really knows.
No one really knows
what's going on. Like it's not a pure like they used to call it, or they still call it adhesive capsulitis. But like that's not completely true because there's something else. Like they're thinking that there might be some protective muscle guarding as well. I do remember like there was like this one paper. That's me racking my brain. But essentially like they got the person under, like knocked him out. I think it was a lady, and they found that she actually had full shoulder range. But then when she was awake, she had the signs and symptoms of frozen shoulder. So then it's like, all right, well, is that true frozen shoulder? Is it not frozen shoulder? Like, yeah.
Yeah, so many mental elements.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough. I've seen a fair few, but it's definitely not my typical caseload.
Because you put me onto Lorimer Mosley.
Yeah, what do you think?
Which was great. Yeah, it's just an interesting way of thinking about pain. What's maybe the easiest way to go? Do you have a couple of tens somewhere?
More tens?
More tens?
I've got two, yep, these are the tens.
That'll save us lifting the 20s.
Yep. Are we Zerchering 60?
I'm gonna Zercher 60.
I'll try. Yeah. I like that, like I think what you suggested of like have it flat first and then bend.
Yeah.
Is more comfortable. I think I tried just to like.
Sometimes it just pinches your skin, and if you can just get that flat contact before you roll, it's going to feel a lot better. But no, I think we should just nurture like what's comfortable today. I've had a busy morning, and you're doing it for the first time, so
Yeah, I'll give it. I'll
we should just feel into what we have available to
give it
us.
a crack.
Try a little pin stretch. For me, it just feels like some work in the forearms and a bit of work through the back to stabilize. Just warming up the legs. But it's amazing how tight the tissue of the forearms get. And I think the Zerk is just a good way to just feel how, you know, how stiff we've gotten, because this tissue is resilient enough to hold a bar there.
Yeah.
If it's released.
Yeah.
It's only if it's tight that it's going to complain.
Yeah, I just find just because I'm not used to it.
Or not used to it, yeah.
It's just sensitive because like it just hasn't had that type of pressure before.
Yeah. And then until you actually require it of your body, who cares?
Yeah. Alright, let's give it a crack. That is hard. Nah.
Smart choice.
Yeah. I'll stick to 10s.
Yeah, I think it's just good to just expose yourself to it.
Yeah. I think I might try that like next time, just to like just practice holding it.
Yeah, it'll just be interesting for you to do it for, you know, 8 to 12 weeks, once a week, and just see if you can build it to a point where you feel like you're actually doing a squat for your legs. Whereas right now it feels like you're training your forearms.
Yeah.
It's just nice to get it to a place where it's another squat option.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's no rush to get there.
That's good to. Yeah, good to try different things. Yeah, it's definitely forearm workout more than a leg workout. That's good.
Yeah. Nice. We got loads of questions.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. What
Yeah.
are some common training mistakes that contribute to unnecessary pain or flare-ups? Guess I could put that to you when you see comments.
Well, I reckon that, yeah, that's a good one, but I think it's just things like this.
Yeah.
You know, you're smart enough to recognise that, you know, you haven't done this exercise before.
Yeah.
You thought that maybe 60 would be fine because
Yeah.
you've back squatted and front squatted 60 comfortably.
Yeah.
But the exposure to your body
Yeah.
is telling you, I should probably be smarter and put that down.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of people would just get in their head about it and be like, I'm better than that, I'll do this, and then, you know, push it that bit too far. And maybe you've got 5 days of forearm pain. Or maybe because you focus so much on your forearm, something else just doesn't work for you. So I think just being as clear as you can on where you're at and what's available to you. And, you know, I think another big one for me is just people want to do shit like, and I've done this and I still do this, but I want to do things straight away. Think that I'm fit and capable, so I want to do it. You know, I should be able to go do a Spartan. I should be able to run a marathon. You want to go run 10K? Let's go. You want to, you know, back squat 150? Let's go. Oh, you're CrossFit around the corner. What's the WOD? Fran, let's do it. Like, people want to just be ready to do stuff all the time and have this ready body. But it's just, I think it's crazy to live that way. It's good to have a bit of it, but know what you're risking.
100%.
Like, you're risking a unreadiness to that stimulus, and it could be 4 or 6 weeks of like just a reasonable build up for you to go do that. Or maybe you do Fran, and then you use that reality check, and it's just like, look, my thruster, I haven't done it for 2 years, and it's actually not that good anyway. I don't really have a front rack. I should probably just stick to the empty bar, or, you know, maybe I shouldn't do this at full intensity. And, you know, if it's a marathon, maybe I really should just be doing the 5 or 10Ks.
No, that's fair. Like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like,
No, there you go.
I think from I guess what I see is like exactly right. Like, I guess I'm kind of on the other end of the spectrum where like they've done that and then they've injured themselves and they've come in and
I get that too.
you know, and they're like, you know,
what's different, like, or like why can't I do it,
Yeah.
sort of thing. And I think like the big thing is because people are typically quite active that do these things, but being generally active doesn't necessarily prepare your body for that specific event
No.
or sport or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah, and like exactly like you said, like you need that build up, 4 to 6 weeks. You need to be eating well, sleeping well. Like,
Yeah.
people want to train like athletes and compete like athletes, but they're not recovering like athletes. They don't have a team, like that's tracking their nutrition, their sleep, their recovery. They're just wanting to just wake up and then just rock up to a workout and just smash it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And look, you might be going to F45 or high rocks,
Mm.
and you might feel like aerobically decent,
Mm.
and you might be quite strong, and you might have a lot of energy. But that doesn't mean that your tissues and your tendons and ligaments are ready for everything.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that's a big one. Just
Mm.
a lack of awareness around that.
Yeah.
And I think it takes time and it takes injuries
Yeah.
for you to learn it,
100%.
because it's hard to learn everything through text or through a video.
Yeah.
You have to push the boundaries and know where they are
Yeah. Big
by
time.
experiencing them.
I've seen a bit of a shift from, I guess, maybe less than 10 years ago. The typical gym was more bodybuilder style training.
Yep.
So you've gotten a lot of these strong people that have gone from bodybuilder style training to like the more functional, maybe not so much CrossFit, but high rocks or functional fitness, which involves a lot more running, high intensity type stuff. And so a lot of people kind of think they've been really strong in that gym, and now they're throwing themselves in this functional fitness space.
Yep.
But they've only really trained, in one particular manner. They haven't trained or conditioned their body to suit functional fitness.
Yes.
And things are starting to I guess break down. Like stress fractures from running, tendon injuries.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm seeing that, like. Not
Short
huge,
range
but-
bicep curls, and then all of a sudden you're like slinging into straight arms doing
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, and just smashing, like, just doing huge amount of calories per session, but you've gone from, an hour and a half, chest and biceps, with plenty of rest in between. Like,
Yeah.
it's completely different energy systems, right?
Yeah. And I think recoverability is a huge factor too. Because a lot of the clients I see have busy families, they're working hard, and their training is just to supplement a good lifestyle, to be able to play with their kids, and maybe it's also just their hour of fun in the day. But sometimes to have the fun, you have to do the discipline thing, which might be, doing some, not even rehab stuff, but just thinking outside the box with the way that you prepare your body.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Like if they're a desk worker or their work involves, I don't know, you could make it even be a tradie, but like if they're not like prepping their body to do a workout or to run or whatever, you've gone from like a certain level to then this.
Yes.
And so factoring in, family, like maybe they're tired because they've got young kids, or they're stressed at work, or they're probably not eating well, like, and they're not sort of prioritizing a good sort of, not necessarily prehab, but like just warming up their body, their system, and then they try and push it, try and hit a PB, and that's probably when they're likely to do something.
That's when you're vulnerable. Yeah.
Alright. That's a little too heavy.
Have you ever done a you do another set?
I'll try another set,
Yeah, it's nice to do 3 to 5 sets of things that are new, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're looking strong in your posture now. You got that all together.
Yeah, I was thinking of like you're saying
bring the elbows forward and just kind of engages more in your back.
Yeah.
Rather than sticking the chest, like naturally the chest will come out with the elbows forward.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, nice.
That's good.
Did you want to warm up? Do you do pistols or one-legged squats of any kind?
I wish I could, but I can't.
Yep. And is that like a hard no, or is,
I
is
can
there a
try.
reason for that?
Yeah. Well, my left knee is I've ruptured my PCL.
Yep.
So ages ago. So it's just a little bit unsteady.
Mhm.
But I could do like a modified version, like
Yeah.
with bands or something.
Yeah. And like, would holding the barbell and doing it be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a crack.
Yeah. Did you see what I did before, or no?
No, I didn't.
No worries. I was just in the rack here
Yeah.
and just using it for balance and stability.
Ah.
And maybe that would be okay for you.
Yeah. Give that a crack. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be more helpful if it's up higher, but we'll see how you feel.
And my ankle flexibility on the left one.
Is it something that you need to do more prep for before you go into? Because I'm trusting you.
Oh, I can do it. I'm not going to injure myself. I'm just going to like fill it out.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
The ankles are a bit stiff, eh?
Yeah, this one doesn't have the range.
Do you find that when you run more that your ankles get stiffer?
Nah,
No.
this one's fun.
And how does the other one feel? Does it feel like you're safe and safe
Oh
with
yeah,
the knee
that's
and
fine. Yeah, got
staying
other
around?
support. Yeah.
All good? Yeah, nice. One of my favourite things for my ankles is just, the pistol wasn't always available. So at the start I was at the barbell on the knees and just sat in the depth of the squat, which has been one of the best things for just freeing up my ankles.
Oh yeah.
Just because there's enough force going this way
Mm.
and there's lots of pressure going down, so it's really just driving that tip fib in the ankle socket and I can just play around a little bit in there. But the empty bar is often enough.
Yeah.
But as tendons and tissues get used to more weight, then you can expose it to more, right?
That's it. You would have worked yourself up to this point.
Yeah. And then this just feels super productive, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having to spend 10 minutes with the empty bar, and I can feel it just go in 15 seconds.
Very good. What's another question?
Nice. Well, we were talking about like the mental attitude as it's around,
Oh, yeah.
mentally pushing hard to things that you shouldn't be doing.
Mm.
Let's say,
Mm.
there's a marathon, let's go do it.
Mm.
And mentally, we've got that capacity to go,
Mm.
all right, I've got a body, it's underprepared,
Mm.
but I can do that.
Mm.
I can get myself through it.
Mm.
I might hurt, I might suffer,
Mm.
I might be in some pain, but I'll get to the end
Yeah.
and I'll deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
But what about like that mental strength when it comes to I've got an injury
Mm.
or I'm experiencing pain? What's the mental strength that we need around managing that experience the best we can?
Yeah, good question. I think you definitely need a lot of mental strength to recover from injuries because I think, I guess we're just going to use you as an example.
We can use me because I've had a lot of injuries,
Just
and I
use
feel
that.
like one of the benefits of having a lot of injuries
Yeah.
is that you've bounced back so many times
Mm.
that you don't feel superhuman, but you feel like this is not going to throw, like this is not the end of the world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I can do
You've done it before.
on
you can
across
do it again,
all
kind of
levels,
thing.
mental, physical,
Mm.
to approach it in a way that's supportive.
Mm. I think for some people from their mental, you do need to build, or at least I guess build mental resilience when you're recovering from an injury because if you've gone from being really active You know, and it's almost part of your identity, like, you know, being fit and healthy and active to then not being able to do any of that. You know, you got to fill your time with something, and you know, you can either, some people will be really motivated and kind of like put the work in, and maybe they sort of see it as like small steps and it's like achievable, whereas some people, even though they might have that resilience when they're super active, but they just can't see how they can get to that end point with where they are at the moment right now. So I guess it kind of comes down to, you know, having a good support network, whether that's family, friends that kind of understand what you're going through, and then having, I guess, you know, from my experience, a good physio that can sort of guide you through it.
Yep.
Through the highs and the lows. And yeah, and it's quite rewarding, I guess, for me to kind of see people kind of through that period, and to then for them to return back to their sport or their exercise or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very rewarding to feel like you've contributed to someone's progress.
Oh, big time. Yeah, for them to like, I'm sure you see it too, like if they're like, you know, I don't know, say like the frozen shoulder guy, like he's probably like, I'll never be able to do X again. But then after, you know, time and effort, energy, they can do it. They're just like, wow, like, this is amazing.
It's amazing. I have a lot of people that come to me in pain because most of my clients are over 40, 50 and 60, and you know, they've let themselves go. I've already said that they're busy, but there's this real gap and window of time where things have gotten stiff, things have gotten sore. And it's not just that, you know, they didn't want to train, it's just that it all mounted up to be too much. So it became overwhelming, it became stressful, there became other factors that led to them saying, no, I won't do it. And then signing up to the coach is more about, you know, as much about accountability as it is about unsticking the body, as it is dealing with this little niggle or that little niggle, and moving beyond that. So yeah, I do see a lot of it, and it's quite fun to work with, because as soon as you open up the body and clear the pain, there's freedom that wasn't there before.
Yeah, big time. Well, there is research, you know, like and it makes sense, right? Like, but people will recover a lot faster and better. I guess better when they're with someone, you know, when they've got that support.
Yeah.
You know, like compared to if they're just doing it on their own.
Yep. Well, that makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense. But sometimes, you know,
it's just
like,
so much easier.
Yeah.
To share the load or share the burden, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Than do it alone.
I'll try a couple of.
Try a couple. Get into it.
Supported.
So good to have a support network.
Yeah. Oh, so important. And I find too, like, say, going back to that chronic pain kind of idea, like, because it is so, you know, complex. If the family or the close network, if they're not understanding of what this person's going through, and they're saying like, oh, it's all in your head, or you know, just walk it off. Yeah. You're not trying hard enough.
Get on with it.
Yeah, like
stop whinging all the time.
Yeah. So that can be quite tough for those clients.
Yeah. Sometimes your immediate network, who may be supportive in some ways, isn't supportive in the ways you need it. But I think it's just so good to be around people that help people through pain all the time, so that you actually know there's a pathway beyond.
Yeah.
One of my favourite things is just thinking about a cut. You know, if I got this tiny little cut on my hand, you can barely see it, but you know, if you get a cut on your hand, one day it's there, 2 days later, the thing's nearly completely gone, and within a week, you forget that you even had it.
Yep.
And that healing process is taking place without you having to think about it, without you having to stretch it or move it or do anything. So that's also going on in our body at all times. And it's just nice for me, for myself, for my clients to just remember that. It's like the body is healing.
100%.
So give it the environment that allows it to do that.
Yeah, the environment. So I like to add on to that. I like to think of the body as like a forest.
Yep.
And we're the gardener. So we can spend time and weed. We can spend time can fertilize it.
Yep.
We can play classical music to it, or we can neglect it, right? And so
Yeah.
our actions will have an impact on what goes on in that forest.
Yeah.
Regardless if we have no action, the forest is probably still going to be there.
Yep.
But our thoughts, our mindset, how we might approach certain things, that will have a role as well.
Yeah, I really like that, and I think a lot of people get to a point where they go, "Oh, I hate my back," or "I hate my leg," or "My shoulder's not on my team," or something like that. They really disown their body.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you did that.
Yeah.
You may not have done that on purpose,
Yeah.
and it may suck,
Yeah.
and it may feel unfair.
Yeah.
But you did that,
Yeah.
and you can undo that. Yeah.
That's it. Like it's
a harsh reality, but it's an empowering one too.
Yeah, that's it. Like you've got control. I think that's the big one too. Is like people think that they don't have control.
Yeah.
But I think as soon as you can give them some control, even if it's only a little bit, then it's empowering, like you're saying.
So empowering. Yeah.
Right. What's next?
Nice. I don't know what's next. Let's just ask another question, and then I better get out of here.
Oh yeah, still going. 6 minutes. Time's flying.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been so fun.
Yeah,
man.
it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is cool.
This is cool. So we're enjoying it. Hopefully everyone else is.
This is cool. It's cool hearing it from your perspective too. I don't know, like it's good talking to physios, but we all talk about the same stuff. Or it's the same lingo. Whereas like talking to a coach, a PT, we're on the same page, but just the lingo is different or slightly different, which is good because then it helps me kind of understand the population that you're dealing with, and your lingo or chat would resonate with them.
Yep.
And so it means like, all right, well, I need to be aware of that and maybe adjust my lingo if I'm working with a similar client, sort of thing.
Yeah, it might help. And even just to hear things a different way, it just opens up a new pathway, doesn't it?
Big time.
You go, oh, we're having the same conversation, we're just saying things a little bit different.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I want to just touch on is just the labeling of pain.
Right.
And how do you sort of navigate that? Because I get people that will come to me and they've got this diagnosis or they've got that assessment or whatever, and it feels really rigid and stuck. And I hate that. That infuriates me. And I just want to tear it up and rip it up and say, forget about it. But also I don't want to invalidate them.
No.
It's a fine line.
It's a tricky path to navigate because I think for some it's quite empowering. Say for example, like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, those sorts of like autoimmune, like tricky, and so they may have been suffering, or like there's a few others, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, like they may have been having all these symptoms for years.
That's
and
right.
just been bouncing from medical professional to health professional to specialists, and no one really knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And so they're just thinking it's just me, like but then having that diagnosis can be helpful because then they're like, oh, it makes sense. Like there is a reason why I'm experiencing these things.
Yes.
But then unfortunately, for some, like you were mentioning before, they kind of hold on to that label and they're like, oh, I've got X, I can't do this.
Yeah. I've got a bulged disc.
Yeah,
I
can't do this. Yeah, exactly.
I've got a shoulder bursitis. I can't put my arm above head ever
ever again. It's like, well, maybe right now, like it's probably not great, but never say never. Like that's not the way forward if you want to improve. And
even scoliosis or these different types of spine presentations. I think just too many people are putting themselves in that box where they're not actually there, they're just stiff or loose somewhere.
Well, I think the tricky thing is that in the medical world, it's all about having a diagnosis, which you need that to get the right care, access to care, to get the right funding, but then sometimes I've seen reports where, they've seen multiple specialists and then as a result of seeing each specialist, they've been giving a new diagnosis
Mhm.
rather than like getting rid of the previous one.
Mhm.
They've now just got new ones,
Mhm.
and so they think that they're able to do less and less, you know, because of their bulge disc and their, you know, degeneration, facet degeneration, and stenosis, and that kind of thing. But like, that's all well and good in the medical sense. But I guess from what I see, like, you need to rule out like red flags. So you need to be sure they don't have the really nasty pathology like cancer, you know, fracture, stuff that can't, you know, like needs immediate medical attention. You know, but there's a few others, but if you kind of rule that out, you just assess their function.
Yeah.
You find out what their limitations are. Can those limitations or deficits, can they be changed? Can they not be changed? And then you just work with that. And then you need to work out where they want to get to. What's their end goal? And then you just fill in the gaps.
Yeah. It's a really refreshing perspective.
That's how I approach it.
Yeah, because it's so simple.
But people don't like simple, right?
No.
Yeah, but then pain's so complex.
Yeah. And so are humans.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like a complex topic with a, you know, in inverted commas, simple solution.
I've done a fair bit of meditation over the years, and every time I do it, I feel like I understand what meditation is more, and that maybe a year ago I didn't know what it was, and maybe I don't even know what it is now. But you know, you get attached to stuff. You get a thought, you get attached to the thought, you go down the thought pathway. Something's biting you, you know, is it a mosquito, is it a bee? You get this idea and the pain just increases. I think people are getting attached to these labels and it's making them worse.
Oh, big time. Big time.
So, you know, it's just something to be aware of, I think, and to navigate. And if you have been labelled, just to consider, like, is that defining of me? Or, you know, are there people out there who have been labelled in the same way that maybe have moved through it?
Yeah, I think that's like, it's maybe hard from our point of view, because if we're talking to someone and they identify as that label, they could be like, we don't understand, you're not going through what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Which is understandable.
Of course.
So then maybe like finding a way for them to network with other people that are also in that label, and then chatting with them and seeing, oh, I actually, you know, like, I'm not defined by this label, like I can do more.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
And I think just inviting curiosity. Because we don't really understand each other, and I think a lot of us don't understand ourselves. So just inviting curiosity to see, you know, could it be different?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, let's wrap this up.
Sure.
We're gonna get home, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you got a lot of things to do.
Yeah,
but that's
dude.
been awesome, man.
Yeah,
I really
awesome, man.
appreciate your time
No, we're good.
and welcoming me into your good
Yeah,
vibes.
we'll have to do it again sometime.
That'd be great.
Yeah, maybe do shoulders or something.
Do some more exercise.
Yeah. It's hard to exercise and chat.
It is.
But no, that's awesome.